Now, you are already in the relationship 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. What does a person in that situation do when you wake up one morning? I mean, this is just in a manner of speaking, right? It's never one morning. It's something you observe over time. But one morning means the scales suddenly fall from your eyes, and you can now see clearly that the person that you are
That it's never going to change.
in a partnership with is a stranger, in quotes, stranger in that they don't know you enough, the things that are important to you, the things that you like, or even if they know, they don't care enough, and maybe vice versa, you don't know them enough, you don't care enough, and then you find that both of you are just housemates cohabiting. What does a person do after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and you wake up one day and you see that you never knew each other in
Hmm.
terms of your values, your interests, all of those things? What do you do at that stage?
You know what I like about this question? Said you the scales fall from your eyes, and people also make bad partners. Some of us are blindsided when we know that we're a good person, and we assume that anyone who gets into a relationship with us is lucky because we are good people. We want to examine this based on two true issues from two different people that we're dealing with now. So we want to answer the questions that they have posed. And Tony, you heard my intro. I am going to read out the two stories and share what we know about situations like this. So the first one I'm going to read is from a man. The man says that the marriage is a few years from being 20 years now, but they hardly have intimacy, that he cannot discuss sex with his wife. He can't even have a conversation about it with her because she says that she finds it uncomfortable to even have a conversation. And yet she says we don't communicate, right? We don't communicate, but this is an issue where he has a lot of dissatisfaction, and yet they
Right.
can't talk about it. And then he says that even when he attempts, she acts uninterested in intimacy, and so he leaves it because when she doesn't show any interest, then he doesn't feel like he can't even do anything. He feels like there's no point.
It's not
So it's
very
discouraging.
understandable. Understandable.
Yeah, for a human being. Yeah. So it's discouraging. And even to do things together, that they can't even go out together, they can't hang out together, that she feels like, what's all that? It's not her kind of thing. And that he's too intellectual in the way that he approaches life, that he needs to calm down from. She says that he needs to, I don't want to use the exact words that he used, but she says that he needs to calm down and calm down, that all that he's too high up there, right? But that she keeps the home well. She's a good mom. So he's basically living with a woman in the house, but not a wife. And
They
then,
are cohabiting.
yes, to him, this is what, but she feels that there is no problem. What are all these things that you're complaining about, right? So, um, obviously, he sees her as a good person, just not a good wife. So he says that he's even tired. He's tired, that he's not even sure he wants to continue with this, right? And then the one from the woman, she says, my man is a good husband. He's a good father. He pays the bills. He's a decent man, but there is no emotional connection. Sex is once in a month. We have no friendship. We're just cohabiting like single people who perform intercourse once monthly to mark the register. She says that she's not sure that she won't succumb to cheating. And she's wondering if she's just being ungrateful because she knows that he's doing his best as a husband and a good father. That's it. So these are good people, but the relationships are suffering. And I think that it may come as a surprise to some of us who see ourselves, or to people who see themselves as good people, that anybody would have a problem with them and that the relationship will still be heading to the rocks. I don't think that being a good person is at all, because you see some people, they say, she left a very good man, he left a very good woman. What is he looking for?
Offline, when we were talking, um, we both agree that for a lot of professions in this world, unfortunately, for something as important as marriage, which is a lifetime profession, if you may, there is no preparatory school, no preparatory school for that. Yes, some of us Christians, I go to marriage classes, but I don't think the way those are structured can address the realistic day-to-day challenges that couples face. I think they can do better in the way and manner that those classes are structured. Because the two scenarios are quite sad. Each person considers themselves to be good people, the kind of person that any man, any woman should not have problems with, should be lucky to have. And it may be that they may actually be really good people, but like you echoed, being good is not sufficient to sustain a relationship. In fact, not just sustain, to begin a relationship before we even talk about sustaining a relationship. Because you can be good based on, whatever standards that you use to judge, but are you good for the other person by their own standards, by their own yardsticks? Because sometimes you may be everything, doing everything right, but you are with the wrong person who doesn't receive the things that you do in the way that you intend them. And so, from your own point of view, you're doing everything correctly, you're doing everything fine, but from their own point of view, there seems to be a disconnect. So it's not sufficient to just, say, I'm good and all that. Now, you are already in the relationship 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. What does a person in that situation do when your scales fall from your eyes and you can now see clearly that
That it's never going to change.
both of you are just housemates, cohabiting? What does a person do after 5, 10, 15, 20 years and you see that you never knew each other, your values, your interests, all of those things? What do you do?
The scales fall from your eyes. Dealing with people who want to have a healthy relationship, not just people who want to just have a relationship for the sake of having a relationship.
People feel that when we get married, this is the mistake a lot of men and women make.